to at least speak to somebody, even if I don't agree. Right now, at the very least, what I've described to this young man is that I used to be a Bernie Sanders supporter. If you'd like, for the record, state your first name.
Yeah, my name is Julian.
Julian?
Yep.
All right, Julian. So the first thing I asked you pretty much was if you agree with everything being said here. So let's go down the list a little bit. Trump is, to you, 100% a dictator
Yes.
and a fascist.
I believe so.
Do you think he should be pursued in the courts?
I do think so.
All right. What would you perceive, or what would you want to see him arrested for, in your opinion, that could actually be prosecuted?
Yeah. So I think he's going against the Constitution, which I consider
That's okay. No. So you think he's violating the
I believe
Constitution?
he's violating the Constitution.
All right.
I think multiple amendments.
Okay. Any specifics on which amendments?
So I think
and try to
first-
project a little bit if you're comfortable doing
Yeah,
so.
sorry. My voice is
It's
no
okay.
projection, but I think the First Amendment he's projecting. He's been trying to shut down protests. They send in ICE agents, they send in the military, on peaceful ones. And if you see, I see tons of videos. Peaceful protesters are getting rubber bullet shots. They're getting tear gas. You know, I think it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
I think freedom of the press. I'm not sure if you've heard, but they're making them sign.
Pete Hegseth.
Pete Hegseth, sorry.
It's okay.
Is, making them sign things that they have to agree, or they can only.
So there you might be able to educate me. I don't specifically know what Pete Hegseth has said, and from what I understand, mainstream media kind of combine their efforts to say they're not going to do whatever it is, but I'm not certain on what that request is.
So basically, they can only report on like approved messages from inside the White House. Like if they're going in there, they can only do like approved messages and things like that. I'm pretty sure. I honestly I could be wrong now, but from my understanding, that's what I believe it is.
Okay, so I think an obvious question for me and anybody that just might be viewing, and thanks for bearing with me.
Yep.
This right here, I haven't seen too much law enforcement or anything really.
Yeah.
If a protest like this is allowed to be here, is this not an example of
Peaceful protest and allowing it, right?
right?
It is. This is an example.
What are some of the others that perhaps you were mentioning that you think were raided upon or infringed upon, their freedom of speech was violated?
I think especially in Oregon.
Portland, right?
In Portland,
yeah.
Oregon, there's been a lot of like federal agent violence against protesters. I believe I've seen some in Chicago as well. And those are like the main areas where I've seen a lot of violence from ICE agents.
These would be, I think, what we can both agree, these are mostly blue states, right? So mostly Democratic states. Do you feel like this is a disingenuous suggestion? Do you, true or false, majority of the blue states have the majority of the crime. Is that true or false?
I believe it might be true, but it's relative probably to population. Blue states have a lot more population, have a lot more cities, and in cities you're more likely to be poor. Poor people are more likely to commit crimes. It's all connected, which is why people love the statistic that black people commit more crimes than white people. But it's a bad faith argument, because black people have been held down systematically through policies that have allowed them not to get education as easily, through not being able to get as good opportunities for jobs. And what happens is that you end up poorer, and when you're poor, many times it leads to a life of crime.
All right, so the first thing I'd ask is, do you support like DEI incentives, which is, I guess, goes over the merit argument?
Well, you see, in my opinion, sorry, go ahead.
No, you're good.
DEI has been really misconstrued recently. DEI has never been to take away merit. It's always been, if you are the most qualified, you are required to get the job. Because what happened was, before that was in place, many employers, racist, perhaps sexist, they only wanted white men to have their jobs. And what happened was they weren't hiring the more qualified people of color.
A quick pause. It seems like you are speaking under the pretense that the system is already inherently racist, sexist, and that is just the status quo.
before everything.
Before everything. So, all right, when pre-DEI, I guess
Pre-DEI.
you're saying it's this established culture
Yeah.
that has helped build up and that has made a necessity of DEI, but you maintain it does not interfere with merit whatsoever?
I don't think so.
I mean, have you seen any stats that show how the regulations are literally lowered, including in our very own military pre-Trump?
Well, here's how I say it. So,
Yeah.
for people like to say for college, right? It's
Sure.
easier if you're a person of color to get into college, right? And they say it's easier, but what people fail to consider is people of color are more born in places with low education, with low funding, schools, low funding.
But aren't these the very schools and areas that are blue? Why is there such a consistent correlation with these high crime rates and the poverty aspect? But we're talking about the people that seem to all think along the same lines as you.
Yeah, so
Where does the accountability fall? Where does the hammer kind of drop?
so it's been like you kind of said it before. It's been a system that's already been here, and I don't think there's been enough time or change in order to fix it.
You think we've made like pretty much close to no progress?
No, we've made progress. I'm not saying we haven't made progress, but we haven't made enough progress.
Okay, and what would be like your ultimate goal to say this is the kind of progress I want to see, so you could walk out and not feel like you have to join a protest like this? I'm all for
Yeah.
protests, but what is the perfect day in your mind for America,
Yeah.
so we don't need some of these things?
I think we need to have our rights protected,
Whose rights are currently
especially
being violated?
Hispanics. Right. So
I'm Colombian.
That's one I didn't get to yet. I said the first and second. I'm sorry if this is wrong. I believe it's the 14th, where they're not allowed to discriminate you. The police aren't allowed to stop you
Correct.
based on your race or ethnicity.
Right.
Supreme Court ruled, and Perdomo versus Vasquez, I think, could be wrong, that ICE agents are allowed to stop you based on your skin color and based on the language you speak or what you look like. That's unconstitutional, in my opinion. It should not be allowed.
How else would they broach their intended
warrants.
demographic
Warrants.
warrants
Yeah.
to approach somebody that they suspect of being here illegally? I don't know how that would work in the court of law. That would make their job, I think, impossible.
You think it'd make it impossible?
I can only speculate. I mean, I don't know. I am not one that's going to say I have all the answers. I'm an American that's confused.
Yeah. Well, so I asked you this: how did they know that there's illegal immigrants in the United States?
I mean, there's sometimes we do have profiling for a reason, and there's sometimes you have to go with that and if you don't, you will not aspire to the goal or progress in a career sense.
But I asked you, how do we know that there's illegal immigrants in the United States?
Well, I mean, you can, just like you speak of the foundation of sexism and all of that, we already know we are a nation of immigrants. All right, and I think Trump has tried to reconstitute the lawfulness aspect of coming in here. And we already know we are enriched with illegal immigrants. So
How do we know that?
it's just
We
a
can't
fact.
find them, though.
It's a verifiable fact, right? I mean, we know there's illegal immigrants.
Well, we know,
I can
but I'm
tell
asking
you,
you, how do
me
we?
personally,
Yeah.
as a Colombian, about 4 of my aunts were here illegally before Trump's time. They have done the process. They are here legally now. So I'm just going off of that. And to me, it's just not a crazy speculation that there are currently illegal immigrants.
Well,
here.
no, I don't think that's crazy either. And I'm just saying, if there's no way to find them without warrants, then how could you even say they're even here to begin with?
How does the FBI profiler go about getting their guy? They have to submit a profile to some degree, so that we have to kind of go off of some set of gut instinct and what we learn in whatever institutions
So
to find something, right?
Right. Even so, well, let's say we run with your argument that it's okay to stop people based on their ethnicity, which I think is unconstitutional and ridiculous. Because I was born here, my family came here legally, and I am currently allowed to be stopped, and they might not say that they're allowed to detain, but they have been doing it on many instances, detaining U.S. citizens and holding them to check if they're illegal. Sometimes they even have their IDs with them, and they just take them in anyways. I've seen it. I don't know about you, but if your family, an unmarked van came, masked men come out and they kidnap them and take them for as long as they feel.
Oh, as a human, that's gonna suck.
As long as they feel they don't have a determined amount of time. As long as they feel, in order to determine if they're illegal or not.
Do you have this? And please don't look at this as a gotcha. I'm just being very transparent. Do you look at the January 6th and how people were detained there as any similarity of rights being violated to what we're talking about?
Why would that be?
Oh, there were people that were illegally detained and held without a proper charge for years.
For doing what?
And Trump had to pardon them for just being on the grounds, not even a part of the protest of January 6th.
You see, from my knowledge of January 6th, I've seen many Trump supporters climbing the walls, breaking in, assaulting police officers, and a lot of violence there. And I've seen Trump pardon a lot of those violent people who literally beat up police officers and things like that. That's what I've seen.
I mean, you know, the damage report was essentially one officer that was security there. He decided to take his own life after the fact. There's a lot of speculation saying that was any correlation or relation. And the only fatality was Babbitt, Mrs. Babbitt. She should not have gone as far as she did. But in terms of the violence, I guess if you look through the lens of the mainstream media, you're kind of buying into that sensationalism or hyperbole, right?
I think storming the Capitol of the United States is attempting to overthrow.
It makes it the insurrection, right?
Yeah.
Do you think there were any provocateurs? Did you hear reports of stacks of bricks being there? And
I heard.
And there were certified FBI agents.
There were okay. That is
Same thing
very
could happen
bad
here too.
misinformation. The FBI agents. The FBI agents were already there, and they had nothing to do with that. Actually, no. Sorry, I had it wrong. They were not already there. They came after the fact, once people were already storming the Capitol, and they came over to investigate.
You believe that every FBI agent that was there was only on an investigative capacity? There was embedded journalists with and embedded FBI agents that were pretending to be something they weren't, and it did go deeper. I mean, it's public information. The FBI was there, and
they were there, and they came after the fact.
And
that's what the records say.
Okay, and if I stated,
I've read that. Yeah.
Okay, all right. I'm just gonna say, for me personally, I think looking up all the citations and available public information, you will find there was over 32 recognized FBI agents that were there under no real official capacity except to even help incite and help create the chaos that we ended up seeing, which was all the clips that the mainstream media loved to play. But it's not a crazy disagreement or anything. That's just...
Well, you see, I think the main pusher of that was actually Trump.
You believe Trump incited? Did he not say to stand down?
He said it after it was already over. It was too late. He was inciting it before it started, and he only brought it down when it was too late.
Would you be consistent in, like, you don't like a person in a form of leadership to be an inciter? Accurate?
Not accurate.
You don't want a leader to incite?
I think it depends. Trump was trying to incite it because he believed the election was stolen.
What is the evidence of him inciting though? When the last I could see was him saying to please stand down.
Yeah, that was after the fact. His tweets or whatever Truth Social.
His tweets and okay.
Were before the fact. Yeah, his social media posts where he was encouraging them. So that's what I think was his incite.
But so you don't condone. You are not a fan of elected officials inciting in general, yes or no?
No. Oh, no. I am okay with it. I think it's all nuanced. I'm not gonna have an exact stance on that.
If you're okay with it, then
I'm okay with it when
give me an example of a positive incitement from an elected official.
A positive incitement?
Yes.
I'm not even sure of a positive, but I'm just saying that I could understand incitement when it's for the right cause. You know what I mean?
And who decides what the right cause is? Do we go off our own moral ambiguity here?
I go on my moral ambiguity.
Okay.
But I think if someone thinks that people that look different from them don't deserve the same rights, and that's what their morals believe, and they're gonna go and try to take over the government because of that, then I'm gonna say that's wrong because I disagree with their morality, And the other way, I think if we're fighting against that, then
We're in the
I'll-
moral checkmate if we're fighting against.
against fascism. Yeah.
I don't know. Okay. In general, in closing, I suppose I see a similarity of just this very protest with what preceded January 6th. I do believe provocateurs do get involved for political aspects, points, ideologies. But that aside, I just want to say I appreciate having a conversation.
No problem.
All right. If you, do you have any questions for me in general, please feel free if you do.
Sure. Let me just think for a moment.
Yeah, take your time. No pressure.
Actually,
Shamrock, Maxwell. You mind if I read anything to you?
yeah, go ahead.
All right. Let's see.
Let's see if they have any questions for me. I'm willing to answer.
Okay. And then I'm gonna wrap. We're gonna walk. I'll walk the grounds
I
and
want to
whatnot.
say real quick. Did
Yeah.
you think the election was stolen?
Did I think the election was
Stolen
stolen?
from Trump?
No, sir.
No, sir.
He did win the popular votes, and the electoral college.
I'm saying in 2020.
I don't. I think it was. Oh, the rigging against him when he lost.
Yeah. Do you believe?
I think we have a lot of evidence to that point. I don't think I have a definitive conclusion, but I'd say it's definitely within the purview of the powers that be.
Yeah.
I would say overwhelmingly prior to Trump, it was mostly a democratically run sphere of where we get our news and what we consume.
Really?
So it's not crazy to me that an outsider or a radical, like some would look at Trump and say,
Yeah.
would have such trouble to get in. So yes, I think it's a possibility, 100%. I can't produce a receipt. I can say it's very possible
I'd say the opposite. I'd say it's very possible that he rigged this election.
that you think he rigged this election.
I'd say it's very possible. Yeah. I've seen voting records from certain counties where it has 0 votes for Kamala, where people in those counties have voiced that they went out and voted for her.
Oh, we've
And
seen.
their votes weren't counted, and plenty of those, and especially in swing states, there's a large group of missing Democratic votes.
False. We've seen evidence on both sides of screwed with voting, right? Like the miscellaneous stacks for Hillary Clinton, like and actually we've seen evidence of dead people voting for Hillary Clinton and stuff like that. Mickey Mouse was on the ballot, so if it happens there.
Mickey Mouse was on the ballot. Well, that's because
Not
people are
not on the.
allowed
I mean,
to
like
do
somebody
write-ins.
voted as Mickey Mouse, shit like that.
Oh.
Yeah. So if you see some fuckery there,
Uh-huh.
all I ask in general, and nobody has to cater to it. There's no demands here. Is that we maintain some level of consistency. We see wrong and we point it out.
Yeah,
And
I agree.
I'm glad you're here doing what you believe in, and I'm here because I just want to be always an ambition for conversation.
Yeah.
What do you have? You don't have to comment. Charlie Kirk.
Charlie Kirk.
Unfortunate, or he had it coming, kind of a deal.
So I have a nuanced take on Charlie Kirk. I'd say
He has a nuanced thing.
nuanced take. I think an unpopular take. Most people I talk to say it was super unfortunate. Nothing should have happened to him. Here's what I think. I believe Charlie Kirk was an advocate for violence. I've seen evidence of people
By
who were-
supporting the Second Amendment, I mean, how is he an advocate
No,
for
that's
violence?
That's not an advocate for violence. Also, his
Right.
take on the Second Amendment was bad. We need more gun restriction. I think automatic weapons are unnecessary. You're not protecting yourself with them, and they're just used for mass shooting. But either way, that's not even where I say. I think his hate for colored people, and people might say he wasn't racist. There's a lot of instances of him being racist and saying that black women have not enough brain power to hold white man's positions.
Have you seen the full
And,
context
I've
of
seen the
any
entire
of it?
clip. I've seen the entire thing.
Okay, because there's a lot of falsehoods that are spread, and when you just go by sound bites,
No,
it
I've seen
loses
the whole
its
thing.
meaning. Like, you remember what he said about the DEI hire, right?
Yeah.
What's the first thing that comes to mind when I ask you about him quoting the DEI hiring?
First thing that comes to mind.
That's where
that
he.
was saying the black women.
No, he walked in and he made a comment regarding the pilot and would
Oh,
have
the
to ask
pilot.
the question.
Yeah.
I hope that's not a DEI hire.
Yeah, but you see, again, that is being hateful, and because I don't believe DEI is
His
losing-
question in and of itself was hateful?
Huh?
His question in and of itself,
Yeah.
asking, I mean, is it not somewhat rational
No.
if you see somebody with such a thing like DEI in place to say, did this person only get there based on merit?
DEI is misconstrued. It's still based on merit.
Okay, I am absolutely anti-DEI. I think we need to get rid of it.
DEI
That's-
literally is just in order to make people who would otherwise be discriminated against not discriminated against.
I think it forces the diversity, which is necessary, but by shoving in that diversity, we have 100% evidence that we're losing people that are more skilled because of the lower tier regulation and hiring process.
I've seen no evidence of that. I've only seen evidence of actually more people qualified getting the job instead of where before as only white men specifically would get jobs. That other people were more qualified to get. That's the whole reason it was put in place.
Okay. I'm gonna. Do you mind? I want to get your consent. Oh,
Charlie Kirk, if you wanted me to.
Okay, go for it.
But yeah, I was saying that saying things like that. There's a shooter who.
But I want to clarify. You do believe that he was inciting violence by merely uttering the question.
Not that only specific word. He said a lot of things. That,
yeah, he made a living from speaking.
Yeah, like saying things, especially in terms of immigrants and how a lot of one of the main things right now, people think the government is shut down because the Democrats are trying to give health care to illegal immigrants, which is not true. They're not even able to qualify for health care.
They were under Biden very successfully. They were even given quarters.
They're not allowed to qualify for health care.
Wait, but true or false? When Biden was president, was he helping them financially?
Illegal immigrants do not qualify for aid.
They'll be called asylum seekers for the sake of...
asylum seekers is different. They're allowed to because they're asylum seekers. They're here legally. Asylum seekers are here legally. We're talking about illegal immigrants, meaning not asylum seekers, people who came here by crossing the border. Those people do not qualify for any sort of federal aid, no health care. So by saying that, it's just a bad faith argument.
But nonetheless, I mean, it happened. It's there, and you could Google it on your phone. It's a fact.
That what?
Under the word of asylum seeker, even if they were just illegal immigrants, they were openly branding using taxpayer money, and they were just using that branding to spend our taxpayer money.
Asylum seekers?
They were given full dental.
Came here to avoid their country's violence.
Yes, that is the definition, correct. Yeah. But are we always to take everybody by their word? Should we not have a due process or strict process to ensure we're letting the right people in, so to speak?
Yeah, and there is. They have courts for those people. They have court dates. They show up to court and they have hearings and they have a whole process.
Do you believe that's where the majority of our resources should go to perfect that kind of one area?
No.
Or like, what are some of the core elements? I'm with you on healthcare in general. I want to see a massive improvement. Yeah. That's why I voted Bernie Sanders, or I tried my best. I went door to door.
Yeah. So, but as I was saying, they're not even able to qualify for that. I'll get back to it, but so by saying those things, it's just trying to incite violence against them. And there's a man who shot up a Walmart, specifically aimed at Latino men or women, and he killed a bunch of people. And he wrote that one of his biggest inspirations was Charlie Kirk and how he didn't like illegals and things like that. And again, he was a user of the 1350.
Is Charlie Kirk responsible for any lunatic that decides to go fringe? I mean, we have that on every side of the spectrum politically. Would it not be disingenuous to? I mean, it's a good point to bring up, but
he's a hateful person.
Charlie Kirk was a hateful person.
He's a hateful person.
All right,
and I think you bring hate when you are hateful. You know, I'm someone who you earn my respect, and if you earn my disrespect, I will disrespect you.
Well, we have to risk coming off disrespectful at times to maintain the conversational war of words.
Yeah.
And by eliminating Charlie Kirk, that was a bad, terrible thing for the country, I believe, because it's showing people that we can go hands-on. We don't need words anymore. We're past the point of words.
You don't think Trump is a fascist?
No, I don't believe he's a fascist. You
don't think our rights are being violated?
I don't believe our rights are not being violated. Perhaps what you're calling asylum seekers / illegal immigrants, their non-rights are being violated. Well, they're not even a violation.
Because in the Constitution, all people in the United States have the right of due process, not only citizens. The framers use the word citizens for things they want only for citizens, and they use the word people for anybody in the United States.
My generic stance, just so I can kind of put a ribbon on this, is I do believe we are at a dire point in our country, and it is important that we focus on the citizens of this country and get all the help we need for the mentally ill to whatever socioeconomic issues are. And that's why I'm okay with the rule of law being applied so hard to what I'm going to continue to call asylum seekers for the sake of the conversation. That's why I'm okay with it. But, and I know on a human moral level, you think that's distasteful.
I'm sorry. Can you? What your point was? I didn't really understand it.
Just in general, I mean, I don't know. The conversation has flowed. I think I said what I intended to say, and I can't rewind at the time. But this is available. Do you mind? I have your consent to film, and
This is fine.
it's uploaded. I'm gonna play it on another show.
Can I say one more thing?
Please
though?
feel free. Go ahead.
Do you think that Trump is a pedophile?
Do I think he's a PDF
Yeah.
pedophile?
Sorry,
No. I want him to release the Epstein files. His friendship with Epstein was absolutely upsetting.
Yeah.
And I know the story very well. I do have an accredited journalist as a friend who deep dived into this. So there was a point where he cut off his friendship very, very publicly. He kicked Epstein out to the curb from his hotel. However, I don't know the answer to that anymore, and I'm just as upset. I think we should unify on how upset we are on the Epstein files. I don't have definitive evidence. I know the shit he said about girls in the dressing rooms and walking through that shitty thing. He is, just because he does things I agree with doesn't mean he's beyond reproach, and I'll call his ass out on all of that.
Yeah.
But for that accusation, I suppose I'd need literal evidence more than what we've been given.
Do you think?
I think it's possible, right?
Think it's possible?
Yes.
I think it's more likely than not. I'd say.
Yeah, but we'd be going on like a feeling, and that just doesn't work in
Well,
the courts.
I mean, is it insane to say that him hiding the Epstein files and the Republicans trying to block it is not?
You know, I'm no fan. That's where I say fuck them all, right? I want to see that, but you know, so it could all be a
What about
deflection.
His rape accusations and how he lost the civil case. I know it wasn't a criminal case, but he lost a civil case that he raped E. Jean Carroll.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on that? Do you think that was somehow?
I mean, I don't know the specifics. Yeah, all of that's wrong. But if she accepted the settlement outside of court, she signed her own. You know, this is the end of the prosecution for him
They found him liable
in a civil.
in the civil court case. Yeah.
Right.
Not guilty, but liable, which is.
I condemn that.
More likely than not that he did it.
I condemn that, but to the letter of the law, prior to his run for president, I think he would have been put in a prison had they had something that firm and concrete. Clearly, her lawyers felt comfortable enough, or even more comfortable, to settle out of court. And she could have won a much larger argument and sum had she not settled.
The thing is really rich and powerful people have a hard time going for him. The example of Diddy, he's going for 5 years when
fuck
should
Diddy.
be life.
Yeah.
You know, and so probably just tried to do what she could instead of getting nothing.
Oh yeah. So I think on some very core elements where this makes us just humans, we unite on things.
Yeah.
And that's the reminder I'd like to leave with you. I want to thank you for taking the time to even talk to me.
Yeah.
All right, thanks. I'm gonna go out in the crowd. Just promise me one thing: don't be like, this guy might be a Trumper. Okay? Remember, I'm on the fence on many things, and that's why I want to have conversations.
Yeah.
But God bless, man. Thank you. I can tell you where to find this if you want. YouTube, just type Progressive Patriot. I'm the first thing that pops up, and then there's another show I do that's way better, way more successful. This is just where I kind of rant.
Okay.
And thank you for being a part of that. All right,
No
brother?
problem.
Take care, all right?
Yeah.
Thank you. Okay, yeah, we'll do another. All right, guys. I did my best with the first, and I'm satisfied overall. This is very organic, on the go kind of a thing. I'm gonna head back to the crowd, and I'm gonna see if I can find somebody that is willing to have a conversation, get into it a little bit more, and perhaps can project their voice a little bit louder. I think I wanted to give him every opportunity to have this conversation so that he didn't feel I was framing it in any way that made him feel uncomfortable. So yeah, and you know what, with Trump's allegations, I'm not gonna say I'm okay with any of it, but when it comes to the law, I think he was being very liberal with his take on the law, and he's only acknowledging them when they go to his favor and his opinion, and that's a problem. Thank you for all the comments. I'm coming back. Yeah, I was literally like tightening my lips to not interrupt and throw everything I wanted to say because I wanted him to feel. He was nervous as it was. All right, I'm gonna come back with part 2, or I might just record and play this on the next Stuck in the Middle. YouTube.com/Stuck in the Middle. Anyway, I'll be back, and let's see if I'm not gonna get educated, but I'm definitely gonna get entertained. God bless, guys. I'm gone for now.